It's been 2 weeks since we got the news that a second Security Breach game is in the works. Not only did we learn that there will be a Security Breach 2, but we also got to see a new character, what looks to be a new version of Vanny. Now this is very exciting news. We finally know what the next FNAF game will be, and who might be the main enemy. Of course, a lot of questions going around for this FNAF news. Who are we playing as? Where does the game take place? And how do we get there? It's of course too early to answer those questions. Without a trailer, we can hardly find any answers. But what we can do is try to predict the game and see how close we're gonna get once the game is there. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'll give you my predictions on the gameplay, lore, establishment and so on. If you're watching this video after a trailer has dropped or the actual game has come out, just know that all the predictions I'm making in this video are based off on this one teaser image. So a lot of things will be wrong, but maybe a few things will be right too, who knows. Before I continue with the video, I have some unfortunate news about my health. You might have already seen the post, but last week while on vacation I had an accident with my knee and now I have to walk with crutches. Luckily the pain has decreased, but my daily life has now become much harder. This also means that making videos is more difficult now. That's why the videos I make in the coming weeks will be a bit shorter and might appear a day later on YouTube. I know that's a bit annoying, but unfortunately I can't do much about it, so I'm sorry about that. For now I want to thank everyone for the kind and supportive messages. It means a lot to me and gives me the strength to keep pushing through. So thank you so much for that. Now let's go back to the video. Let's start this prediction video with the first question. Is it a prequel or a sequel to Security Breach? Let's look into both of these options, starting with the possibility of a prequel. If Security Breach 2 takes place before the first game, then there's no question in my mind that this game also takes place in the original Pizzaplex. The Pizzaplex had a lot of renovations over the years, so it wouldn't be shocking to see this location again for a third time. There are a lot of rooms described in the Tales from the Pizzaplex books that we haven't seen in the game, like the Storyteller tree. Maybe there were even other attractions in the Pizzaplex that later got removed to make place for newer attractions. Also the idea of this being a prequel to Security Breach would answer the question who the new Vanny is, namely Vanessa, only now she wears a different suit. It could be a different person, but if it's a prequel, my guess goes to Vanessa. Now it's definitely possible that this game is a prequel, but I lean more to the idea that this is a sequel to Security Breach. Why? Well, first of all the location. I don't think it's a good idea to make a game that takes place again in the Pizzaplex. We've seen this location twice now with all its secrets, so adding more secrets to this building doesn't make sense and is a lame idea honestly. Of course our prequel could take place in a different location, but I think that idea makes more sense for a sequel. Also, I'm not satisfied if the new Vanny turns out to be the old Vanessa. We freed Vanessa from Glitch Trap and Security Breach. If she's been taken again by a new virus, Security Breach is more like a filler game and not important to the lore. Now why do I think Security Breach 2 is a sequel? Well, it makes the most sense honestly. Between Hellbonnet and Security Breach, there was nothing really important going on. Fazbear Entertainment just tried to earn a lot of money so that they could build their first mega Pizzaplex. Sure, around the time Vanessa got mind-controlled by the virus and the Mimic was down in the sinkhole. But we have all that information already from the games and books. Still, we could of course add new lore between the two games, which can help explain the story of Security Breach a bit better. But I think it's a better idea to continue after Ruin, and explain what happened for cutscenes and messages. Speaking about Ruin, I'm not sure if the elevator ending is still the canon ending. Yes, it ends with a cliffhanger that I still hope is the canon ending, but there are theories that Cassie is the new Vanny. The reason that she looks much older now is because the timestamp between Ruin and Security Breach 2 is probably more than 10 years. So if the new Vanny is Cassie, then the Brazil ending would make more sense to be the canon ending. Because in that ending, Cassie wears the mask and now sees this happy fake ending, which could mean that her mind has been taken over by the mask or chip. It could also be that the new Vanny is a character we've never seen before. I think both options are possible, but if I had to choose, I prefer a new character for Vanny. A timescale of 10 years is a lot. It can make the lore very confusing and hard to understand. But on the other hand, it's a good excuse to make more FNAF games that takes place between those years. Now that I explained to you why I think it's gonna be a sequel, I now want to talk about where the game takes place. I don't think we will be in the Pizzaplex or the sinkhole. I think more that this game takes place in a brand new Pizzaplex. With new attractions, animatronics, restaurants, stages, security officers and so on. Basically just a remodel of the original Pizzaplex. Now why do I think there are more Pizzaplexes out there? Well, simple. In Security Breach there's a big warehouse where endos get stored and trained. There are around 20 to 30 endoskeletons down there. Now it wouldn't make sense that all these endos were used for this location only. I mean, how many times does the animatronic malfunction? I think that a part of these endoskeletons get shipped to other Pizzaplexes. Freddy even has a secret line here where he talks about it is a mass production. Although he says it with a question, but still, it can definitely be that more Glamrock Freddys are made for different locations. Not only the animals are a hint to more locations, also all the other objects, like the Fast Between forklifts or the crates with the Fazbear logo. In my eyes, it seems logical that after the first success of the Mega Pizzaplex, they built several more. Now talking about this new location, we might already know one of the attractions you can find here. A month ago Steel posted these two images where you have to spot the differences. Many people believe that this is not just a normal image, but a small teaser for the next FNAF game. And now that we know the next FNAF game will be Security Breach 2, this image probably means that we can find a swimming pool inside the new Pizzaplex. Not of course looking like this, but more like a big pool with a lot of slides and pools. There could even be a game mechanic to swim around the pool, trying to collect items and such. With a new Pizzaplex comes of course new animatronics. So what does the main gang look like in this game? Most of the time there are always 4 animatronics in the band, and I think that will also be the case in this game. But I would like to see Steelwood change this idea by adding one more member to the band, like adding a drummer or something. Unfortunately, I don't think Steel will do this. One of the members in this band will definitely be a Glamrock Freddy. Only it's not the Freddy from Security Breach. It's a brand new Freddy that we've never met. This could make for an interesting scene where you meet Freddy for the first time and think he will be friendly and helpful, just like OG Freddy. But when you're about to approach him, he's a mad animatronic that tries to kill you. Of course, it can be that the Pizzaplex has a completely different theme than the original Pizzaplex. And instead of Glamrock themed animatronics, they have hippie animatronics or something. But for now, I just assume Steel will continue with the Glamrock theme. Another animatronic who I think is in the band is Glamrock Bonnie. And again, it's not the Bonnie from the original Pizzaplex, but a brand new one. I also would like to see a Glamrock Foxy animatronic. There are a lot of theories that this animatronic did exist in the Pizzaplex. Because we have cutouts of Foxy, a giant Foxy statue, and even a secret attraction based off of him. So a Foxy animatronic is definitely possible. Now for the last animatronic in the band, they could use Glamrock Chica again, so that you have the original members of the band. But I honestly would like to see a brand new animatronic character, just like they did with Monty, like a cat animatronic for example. Besides the 4 animatronics in the band, there are of course also other animatronics to see in the new Pizzaplex. Those are more the side characters you once or twice see in the game, like Son and Diddy Music Man. We know that there will be a swimming pool inside the Pizzaplex, so there will probably be an animatronic that can swim. There are a lot of sea creatures that Steel could choose from to make an animatronic out of it. If I have to guess what sea animal they use for this attraction, I'll go for a shark. How cool would it be to swim around this pool while a big shark animatronic is after you? And if they add a shark animatronic, I think it's a good idea to have it walk on dry land too, but in a way that it's slower on land than in the water. Also, they could give this animatronic the same personality as Ruined Monty, which is basically a ballistic animatronic. Other options Steel could use for a sea creature are a dolphin, a seal, a turtle, a crab, and a lot more. Knowing Steel, they probably also add a gigantic animatronic. They've made 3 so far and probably continue it in the next game. I wouldn't mind them adding another huge animatronic. My only suggestion is, please don't make it another Music Man animatronic. They've brought back this animatronic so many times, and I think it's time to either make a brand new character or another old character from Scott, like the puppet. One other animatronic who I think will be in this game is a Glamrock themed Ballora animatronic. In the books she already exists, so it would make sense to see her in the next Security Breach game. I have no idea what she actually does in the books, because I've never read them. But I think Ballora would fit in nicely in a dance club or something. Maybe she could even be the new daycare attendant, although I think many children will get nightmares from her. One of the biggest questions I have for this game is, who is the main antagonist here? Now it seems simple, it's the new Vanny of course. Well, yeah, but what happened to the Mimic? From what we know is that the Mimic got freed by Cassie. After that, we have no idea how it continues. We know Rune has 3 different endings. In one ending he dies, and in the other 2 he escapes. I think it's obvious that the Scooper ending is not the canon ending. Because if Steel would choose this ending to be the true ending, we basically have defeated the Mimic. And I don't think most fans are satisfied with that. So it's either the Brazil ending or the elevator ending. At this point I can't tell which is the canon ending. I just need to know who the new Vanny character is. And I can only find it out if a trailer drops or the game itself comes out. But it doesn't really matter because we know the Mimic escaped from the sinkhole. But will the Mimic appear in Security Breach 2? In my opinion, yes, definitely. He's still the main antagonist in the new FNAF era, so leaving him out of the game will be very weird. It could be that he's not physically there and is actually a messenger to Vanny. But I think he's definitely present in the new Pizzaplex. I may even know what the reason is why the Mimic got to this Pizzaplex. I think he's trying to find the data diver from Secret of the Mimic. We know the data diver has all the information on the Mimic and maybe even has a glitch permission from M1. With that we can deactivate the Mimic and stop him once and for all. The Mimic knows that this is his only weakness and tries everything to capture it. Now he may want to destroy it or do something else with it, since we saw him holding a data diver in the parachute ending. What he's going to do with the data diver is unknown. Now even though the Mimic is the main enemy here, I think Steel are gonna focus more on Vanny's redemption. I think we can all agree that Vanny in Security Breach was a big disappointment. She's barely in the game and doesn't feel like the real enemy. So it's obvious to me that Steel and Scott are trying to give Vanny the proper villain recipe. Here are my ideas on how to make this character better than her former self. First of all, let her appear much more in the game. I know she needs to be a mysterious character, but if we don't see her often enough in the game, it can feel like she's not even present in the Pizzaplex. Second, let her have more control over the Pizzaplex, like hacking computers or locking doors. This makes her feel more like a real threat that you have to avoid. Another thing I really want for this character is a good and understandable backstory. The old Vanny has an unclear backstory, which makes the character hard to understand. I really want to know what is Vanny's purposes in the game and how it has connections with the Mimic. The last thing I will do is give Vanny a lot more lines. In Security Breach she barely talks to Gregory and constantly repeats the same lines. Because of this, I can't take Vanny that serious in the game. So by adding more lines and some conversations with Vanny, you'll give the character more personality and make her much more serious. And this was my first prediction on the upcoming game Security Breach 2. If you've watched this video after the game has dropped, then let me know in the comments if I guessed anything right. I'm really curious if I predicted something. If you watched this video before the game's release, then let me know your predictions down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this prediction video. If you did, why don't you leave a like and perhaps subscribe for more FNAF content. Also, if you're in the mood for another FNAF video, then click on one of the videos that pops up on your screen.